Hey, it's another great weekend here. It's Main Street Money. We're coming at you every Saturday from 11 to 12. I'm Joe Yocavitch, and with me, as usual, my co-host is Traci Kelly. Hello, Traci. How are you today?
Hi, Joe. How everybody?
Are you having a good day?
It's one of those days. Hey, everybody.
It's one of those days. I wonder what the day is going to turn out today. I'm looking forward to hanging out with all of you, with Traci Kelly. You know, we talk about Main Street Money, and we talk about how we are directly and indirectly associated with Wall Street. We are totally against how Wall Street thinks and feels. We see what's been going on out there, so we give you the truth about money, and that's what our show's about. It's Main Street Money. It's not about Wall Street. It's about Main Street, your money, and how we can help you grow it, keep it, save it, and hopefully pay the least amount of taxes, because we had a seminar the other day, and taxes again came up as the number one reason why people sometimes seem to forget to save prudently. So we're going to talk about that on the other side of the hour, taxes and what's happening with taxes. What's going on your side of the world, Traci Kelly?
Just enjoying the beginning of summer, the unofficial begin. You know, was recently with Memorial Weekend, so I'm just excited to get some sun.
Yeah, it's been nice out, that's for sure. You know what? If you need to reach us for any reason, we love to take your calls or your emails. You can catch us at www.jmlfinancialgroup.com. That's our website, or jmlfinancialgroup@gmail.com. That's our email address. So email us anything that you want to talk about or mention on the show. Also, our direct phone number would be 856-751-1771. So if you have any questions or concerns or some things that you want to know about and what's bothering you about money and what to do, how to keep it, how to save it, give us a shout out, and we'll be more than happy to share it with all of you on the radio. You know, something's happening in our economy here, Traci. The market's all over the place. Interest rates are down, and what I've been hearing, I'm sure you've been hearing the same thing, is that interest rates are going to stay low for a while, a long, long time, which is some good things, especially for those people that are thinking about selling their home or buying their home. I know you're in a process of trying to sell your home, so some of your thoughts on that.
Well, hopefully the housing market and sales of existing homes increase and that looks better, because I am definitely trying to get out of this house. Nothing wrong with it, but it is time to move on.
Yeah, I hear you. You know, the other thing is that the number of Americans, at least, believe it or not, 75 years or older, still have mortgages on their homes, still have debt. That was completely different 10 years ago. It increased about 8.5%. 1 out of every 5 seniors have some type of mortgage on their home. And even for those of you that are 65, you still have it. You're up from a decade ago, up 22% on having still a mortgage. So people are still, having these long-term mortgages in their retirement years.
Well, some of them may have chosen that scenario as well, because we have some clients that have great positive cash flow through retirement, and they've chosen to hold a long mortgage so that they could have the additional cash flow and do other things with it. So you don't quite know how much of it is wrapped up in that, but I'm sure is a big statistical number in there that those people would prefer not to have any type of mortgage in their retirement.
I was reading something the other day, looping back to the mortgages, because, again, we are big advocates of spending your money prudently and the right way to do that. And we talk about reverse mortgages, and you can, believe it or not, have a reverse mortgage if you do have any outstanding debt on your real estate. Depends, again, on the appraisal value of your piece of real estate. But what's interesting that ties this conversation together, that's not interested in, is 54% of the U.S. physicians do not accept Medicaid patients, up 10%
Yep.
From only 4 years ago. And that disturbs me.
I believe it.
Well, you believe it, but how's that going to affect someone that needs help from a doctor?
Well, like you said, the amount of doctors accepting any kind of Medicare or Medicaid. I mean, right now we're talking about Medicaid, but I see Medicare going into this too, because the reimbursements do not come from an insurance company. They come from the government, and the government is not going to pay as much as an insurance company. So when a patient comes into a clinic, a hospital, a doctor's office, and they see, okay, this is a Medicaid patient, and in some cases Medicare, they know their reimbursements may not be as much, and the doctors, they're hurting too. And these hospitals, everybody needs money, and there's no one culprit. So it's definitely going to be an issue going forward with the number of people that need care and the number of people on Medicaid.
That's very true. And it's not getting any better. I mean, because our population growing older, so this is going to become a major epidemic going forward. And that's the sadness. The other thing we both agree on is that we do not know where taxes are going. We're seeing what's happening right now, that they're talking about charging or increasing tolls in some of the toll roads that are not toll roads right now to get more money into the state. The other big conversation this last week or so has been pensions, on how Governor Christie's thinking about cutting out or cutting back pensions and health benefits for state employees. Lou Greenwald made a pitch that it's unfair, but it looks like because of the longevity and because all of us are in the same situation together, we're living a lot longer because of healthcare issues and technology. And can we continue to afford to continue to pay out health benefits and pension benefits to state employees, and it never intended to be paid out as long as some of these people will live? So it will and could major bankrupt what we're trying to achieve in terms of we haven't taken enough money in to be able to pay that pension person out for 20, 30, 40 years in retirement.
And that's really the problem is, the money that's going to fund a decent proportion, if not all of those benefits for, ever, for the lack of a better word, while the rest of the people who do not have those benefits, who do not have those provisions made, those who've worked for, private companies or for themselves, have to afford their own insurance, which, by the way, under the Affordable Care Act is very rarely affordable, based on the numbers that I've seen and the people that I know that are getting those policies. It's not affordable. So then what's a person to do? They end up turning to Medicaid. Now there's doctors that don't accept Medicaid. So it's a whole huge problem. And unfortunately, everybody's got to give a little bit.
Well, I know I don't know what the individual. Do you have any idea what the number is for a single?
Well, I know for a single person in my age group, a very high deductible, fairly bare bones policy, I pay about $235 a month. Now that means all of my preventative, so things like an annual GYN or mammography or maybe a physical here and there, are covered. But, if I want to go to a dermatologist to get my beauty marks checked, I'm paying out of pocket. I'm paying out of pocket until I reach a $2,500 deductible. Now, somebody twice my age, let's say somebody 55, that $235 is not feasible. And by the way, if I wanted a traditional copay policy with things, maybe like a $20, $30 copay instead of a high deductible, I was probably looking at doubling my premium, and that's for an individual. For family plans, the average family, there was just a statistic, the average family could end up paying up to $24,000 a year for a copay plan. That is not affordable.
Well, you know what? We were with some clients the other day, and they came in the office, and we were talking about healthcare. And believe it or not, what came up was the husband needed to have some surgery done, and he had an HSA plan, which is a very, very high deductible. And what happened was the deductible for hospitalization was $11,500.
Yep.
That's on one situation. And we were talking, and it just in conversation, he said, I have to have a second operation, and I have to do it within this particular calendar year. And if I don't, I'm going to have another 11.5 if it rolls over to the following year. So it will change on how, we collectively, look at healthcare much more under a microscope because of the deductibles, and they are high. And this is in the HSA plan, which you have for a family a $11,500 deductible, which is quite steep if you think about it. And then can somebody afford it? Forget about retirement. Forget about anything else. It's the health care that could drive their retirement plans out the window if this health care situation does not get in control.
So it really comes down to also knowing your plan, because when I say a high deductible, okay, $2,500, but there are a lot of plans where the outpatient and the inpatient deductibles are two totally different deductibles. So I may trigger one deductible by going to a doctor and maybe getting lab work done, but I trigger a whole other deductible if I'm admitted into the hospital. So these are things that sometimes sneak up on people because they don't realize it, and it's so important. And then with Medicare, it gets even more complicated that sometimes deductibles are triggered by 90-day periods. So you may have one deductible that you reached in January, but if it's June, you may be in another deductible period. It depends on what the coverage is. It's really an issue, and it's why it's so important that we all really need to be our own advocates. And unfortunately, it gives us a little more homework, but we need to know what we own and what's available.
Well, the biggest concern, and obviously this, is what happens if someone gets downsized from a company or gets laid off. I mean, what happens? I mean, these are the questions that you all need to start to ask, not of yourselves, but of your employer. So if you're going to get downsized or ousted for any reason, you need to find out, number one, your health care plan. Who's going to pay for it? How long does it get paid for? Are you sharing in it? Does it get paid forever? Are you part of a bigger plan, or do you have to get individual type of coverage? So that's the number one priority right now that I feel. The other thing, we get downsized. I mean, some of you might be getting downsized or being laid off or whatever. Start to think about doing some subcontracting work for certain companies. Part-time, work part-time and still obtain, in some cases, maintain your health care coverage with that company. So these are some of the questions. Another thing is, because of the freezing going on and the cut of salaries with, companies laying off, I mean, we're seeing that happening now more and more because of technology. You need to start to somewhat be more creative and kind of create yourself over again in something that you can still earn a living, obviously, but that healthcare issue becomes a real important part when you do get downsized or you go on your own to do your own thing.
Yeah, and COBRA is not affordable usually either, and it's not always your same coverage. So you really need to be informed. I do know there are some colleges now that have plans. I have a friend that recently was laid off. He's going back to school as an adult and was working and going to Rutgers, and he, was upset because, unfortunately, he looked at what Obamacare was and the Affordable Health Care Act and was shocked at the premiums, and also shocked that, wow, here I am laid off, but because I worked and I made okay money, I can't get any subsidy. And that was not shocking to us because we know that already. But he actually looked into the Rutgers Student Health Plan and was pleasantly surprised that not only was the premium more affordable to him, but his coverage was great. So I'm a little jealous and thinking I should go back to school.
That might be the only answer to that. But you're right, absolutely. It's a big issue that we're all faced with. So it's something we need to address, and that's some of the questions we need to start to ask of their employers. Or if we are getting laid off or downsized, we need to start to think about that, because it's a big cost today. It's
huge.
I mean, think about what I'm saying to you. It can really bankrupt you if you don't plan correctly. So something to think about. The other thing I want to talk about today, at least at the beginning of our show, Traci, is because the market. I know we talk about the stock market all the time, and whenever sometimes explain to people that it's not one product fits all. I know last week the market was at an all-time high and people were jumping out. The market's, believe it or not, back again, roaring. All good positive information about it because interest rates are low. Growth is starting to come back. People are starting to get back to work more and more. I don't see that as much as I'd like to explain that. I don't think it's the economy looks good for us, but people's reaction to the economy sometimes is disheartening. They don't, in our world, they don't save enough money, or they're still spending like they used to, and that's upsetting to me.
Well, people are spending, and granted, there are some people living paycheck to paycheck, but the real issue is that most people aren't even thinking about it. And I know it's not the most exciting thing every day to think about how you're going to financially plan and what savings vehicles are the best and how protected are you and your family. It's boring stuff. I understand. I'm not offended by it, but it does need to be addressed. And, I've had clients even say, Trace, I'll be brutally honest with you. I would prefer to do almost anything than sit here and talk about this stuff. But, those who finally go, okay, I need to be responsible and do this, they're kind of surprised that, okay, you do a little bit of work up front and then it's not so bad. It's not so hard. And it's like anything, starting a routine is the hardest part. So once you get in that routine of being strategic, of planning, maybe it's budgeting, but knowing what you're saving. So if it's $50 a week, $100 a week, whatever it may be, you start it, and after a couple of weeks, after a couple of months, it's like old hat, it's routine and it doesn't hurt so much.
You know what? It's that, and that's the sadness. I mean, our biggest, I guess, hurdle, as you say, and you said it so eloquently, is that people today are not motivated to save money. As much as we want to believe that we inspire them and we share with them experiences of what we've been through in the years that we've been doing this, but no one wants to save money. They want to live for today, never thinking tomorrow was ever going to come. And you need to change that mindset a little bit, everyone out there listening to us, is that save a little bit, have the same lifestyle. We find certain things that happen to individuals all the time. There are companies that we're sometimes not realizing they're, throwing away money out the window without realizing it. So we collectively, Traci and I and the firm, we believe that, we find holes in the bucket and we replace those holes, and we kind of take that money that you're not knowing or realizing you're losing to taxes, to lost opportunity costs, to high cost and fees and turnovers, and we put that back in your pocket. So a lot of times what we do is really simple, is just take that money that you don't realize that you're spending or losing, and we just put it back in your pocket to have you save it that way. So it's not, again, one product fits all. It's just it's a process, and it's a real methodical process we take people through, and it's easy. Believe it or not, folks, once we put the plan together for you, and it seems to be, boring, like Traci talked about, but once you do it, it's like, wow, that's pretty easy. Why don't everyone do this? Well, it takes a little time, and no one wants to do it because it takes a little time. They're more concerned about, worrying about their vacation this weekend versus worrying about retirement for the next 40 years. So that's somewhat disturbing sometimes when we talk to people.
And folks, there's always some really great information that's updated on our website, and we invite you to go check that out anytime you have a little bit of free time. Or you know what? Make the free time. www.jmlfinancialgroup.com is the website. Or if you'd like to call us, it's 856-751-1771. Again, the website is www.jmlfinancialgroup.com.
And we're going to update that website a little bit. I think we're going to bring it to the next level, Traci. I think we're working on it now. You know what? We're going to take a quick, short break here. We'll be right back, but stick around. We have some great stuff coming back at you in a minute or so you don't want to miss it. It's Main Street Money on Cruisin' 92.1 FM WVLT.
Time after time, I've done my sentence, but committed no crime. mistakes. I've made a few.
Listen to me, listen to me.
I heard you, Joe.
I mean the listening audience, Tracy.
Okay, when?
Every Saturday at 11 o'clock, we get real about money and we have fun.
That's right. We'll simplify all the issues when it comes to your money and give you some tips on how to make it, protect it, and keep it.
But they have to listen.
Okay, you can only ask nicely.
All right. It's Main Street Money coming to you every Saturday from 11 to 12 on Cruisin' 92.1 FM WVLT.
And kicks in my face, but I come through. That means we're going on.
And welcome back. It is Main Street Money here on Cruisin' 92.1 FM WVLT. I'm Traci Kelly, and with me as always, thank goodness, is Joe Yocavitch. We have a really, really great special guest today. I know I say that every week, but I actually mean it today. Very, very informative, some of the stuff we're going to hear, and so close to my heart and so important as we talk about empowerment for not only just women, but young girls. They definitely need it. So I want to introduce Melinda Champion today. She is the board chair of the Alice Paul Institute. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Before we get into anything, I want you to just tell us a little bit, just briefly, about the Institute and where it is and what it is.
Sure. The Alice Paul Institute is founded for Alice Paul, who is a local heroine. She's from Mount Laurel, New Jersey, and her ancestral home, Paulsdale, is on 6.5 acres. It is our headquarters. It's on the National Register of Historic Places. And at the Alice Paul Institute, we use Alice Paul as a role model to teach girls about leadership. So that's our main mission, as well as educating the public about Alice and what she did. She was the leader who led the final push to get women the vote. So she passed the 19th Amendment in 1920 through her leadership. She also wrote the Equal Rights Amendment, and that was introduced to Congress in 1923 and has been reintroduced every year since. It was passed in 72, but has not been ratified by all the states. So
I think that's interesting, and I didn't know that until I had been exposed to the organization, that there is actually no amendment saying that women have equal rights to men.
yes, it's kind of shocking.
Do you know that, Joe?
No, this is all news to me right now. I'm learning this stuff right now. But very interesting. When Traci started to get involved with your organization, she would come back very excited about what she was doing with you guys, and we are always behind empowering females, obviously, and men also too. But females, because we always talk about how they deal with their money. And even you and I talked a little bit before we got on the radio about how the disconnect today, because of technology, how young people just don't have the same conversation, face to face, like we grew up in. Mm-hmm. I first want to ask you a quick question, personally. Yes. That name Champion, that's a cool name. I think I'm going to change my name to Joe Champion. Is that an alias, or is that your real name?
That is my real name, and in fact, I can trace my lineage back to 1647 when Henry Champion came over with Lord Say and Lord Brooke.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Jealous.
You don't actually have a vegetable garden, do you, in your house?
No. Why?
Well, I thought maybe with that name like Champion, you have to do
That's
something.
Victory Garden. Not a Champion Garden.
Good stuff. Well, let me ask you, because I know you do a lot of summer programs with your organization. Tell us about I know what makes your API summer program unique. Tell me about that.
Yes, we have 2 summer programs. The first is the Girl Blazers Camp, and it's for rising, upcoming 5th and 6th grade girls. And it is running June 26th through July 2nd, which is an odd Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it's because of the fabulous winter we had with all those snow days. School has been extended for a lot of school districts. So it's a very unique program because we use current and historic women as role models to teach girls about leadership and empowerment. We use the women leaders' lives and their works in a lot of activities that we do, self-portraiture, wood crafting. We have a lot of outings. It's a really fun program for the girls. They meet new people, make a lot of new friends, and hopefully learn about their own leadership potential, and then they can take what they learn and go back into their communities and schools and exhibit that.
Well, I know one thing because I have a daughter. She's 24, but I have to say this to you because it's a difficult, very difficult endeavor that you have to go through, especially with young females today, because of the exposure to technology and TV, and it's almost everything talks about beauty. I mean, we see that in all the books and sexuality and all that stuff. It's so much pressure for young women, and it just seems that you're breaking away from that, and which I admire because it's something that definitely is a necessity today because of what's happening.
Absolutely. And girls, especially in that 5th to 6th grade, as they're going into middle school, they're really at risk for losing their self-confidence. And there's a lot of data that shows that girls are in grammar school and they are just large and in charge, and they're raising their hands and participating, and all of a sudden they hit middle school and the body image comes into play. They start losing their self-confidence. They lose their voice. So we try and give them the tools to get that voice back, get self-confidence back, public speaking skills. And they learn this all at Paulsdale at this summer camp, where it's a very safe environment. It's all girls, and they're given a lot of encouragement and tools, and they love it. We get great feedback from the girls, so it's a lot of fun.
It's always important to find your voice. It's something we talk about here on Main Street Money a lot, and not just with, the women population, but just in general, be an advocate for yourself and for your community by finding your voice. So the more that, you can empower somebody in a young age to find their voice, I just think it can change the world. Tell us a little bit about, I know there's a leadership program called Apply
Yes.
for a little bit older girls. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, this is a brand new program. We are so excited about this, and it's very different than any other program that I know about because the focus is on college preparation, career aspirations, and personal leadership development. So it's for rising 9th and 10th grade girls, and the idea is as you're starting your high school career, if you had some idea about what you want to do when you get to college, that can help inform the choices you make in high school. And what's really fantastic about this program is that it's using women, historic women as role models, but it's also using current women as role models. And they get to take field trips to various companies and locations to actually meet with women. So, for instance, one day the girls will go to Campbell's Soup and they will get to tour the technology facility. Then they'll get to have lunch with executives at Campbell's Soup who are women, and then form a mentoring relationship with these women. And we're going to do that at a number of different sites. And then when the program ends, there's a girls community page on our website that's a password protected page, so you have to be invited in, but then they can catch up with those mentors that they met and continue the relationship. And that can really be helpful, obviously, for them as they move forward through their high school and college careers.
I think that's an amazing opportunity to teach young girls how to begin their networking career. Those
Absolutely.
relationships can take them who knows where in their careers.
Oh, absolutely. Networking is what it's all about
Everything.
these days.
It definitely is. Now, where can somebody get information on how to either join in on one of these groups or programs, or find more information?
Our website, alicepaul.org. You can find applications. Girl Blazers is a camp, so you just register to participate. The Apply program, which stands for the Alice Paul Professional Leadership Institute, is actually an application process. We are only taking 25 girls, so you actually have to apply for that program. But the value is just tremendous, so I highly encourage everyone to go for it.
I like that. Go for it.
I know I'm a child of the 80s, can't you tell?
No, you know me. We're old school. We're old school. Main Street Money is all about old school today a little bit. Yeah. But tell us, if you could, what can we do? I mean, local South Jersey people, how can we help your organization to empower those young women we're talking about? Because, for me, like I said, it's so important, and I see certain things that, we all do. What we read and what we hear, and we both have children. But, what can we do South Jersey-wise to help your organization, and tell us something about that?
Sure. Well, if you have a girl who's in our age range, we have so many programs. We have a Meeting Alice program. We have a Lead Away programs. So talk to your girls, talk to your schools and say, hey, we want the Alice Paul Institute to bring the Lead Away program to our school. If you're an adult, you can volunteer. We have tons of volunteer opportunities. And it comes down to Main Street money. We need your donations. It takes a lot of money to fund all these programs. And we do a great job for so many girls. And it's our mission to expand the number of programs, the number of girls we serve, the geographies that we serve. So the more funding we have, the more girls we can reach. And we're just so excited for the future.
I think another thing that's very interesting is when it comes to some of these organizations, typically it's a lot of women that are supporting it. And I think, going forward, so many more men should understand and realize that there's so many areas that they can help support. You have wives, you have daughters, and just think the more that you empower them, the better that, you make this world for your daughter. And if you have a teenage daughter and you're a business owner or you work for a company, maybe this is a great way for you to help inspire your daughter by supporting the Alice Paul Institute.
Oh, absolutely. And we love to get more men involved because Alice Paul, she's for women power, she's about equality, which means equality. It means men and women, not just women. So we're focused on girls because they've traditionally been underserved. That's really our mission, is equality for all.
Absolutely. So for the men out there, think about the kind of world you want to raise your daughter in and start supporting them. I will tell you, things are, I just think, wonderful for the world of women out there, but there's still work to be done. And I will share with you that it was not even that long ago, I think a week ago, I was scolded by a man in a meeting for apparently speaking my mind. And I thought, wow, is this 1950? Okay, we still have work to be done.
Oh, that hurts me.
It's interesting. Give us again the links, how everyone can find out and get more information.
Absolutely. alicepaul.org, and you will see links to the Girl Blazers Camp, to the Apply program, to upcoming events at Paulsdale. Get involved.
Do you have anything coming up within the next couple of weeks here?
We do. You'll have to check our website. But we
Okay.
have, for instance, a new book was just written about Alice Paul. We're having an author signing on June 19th. We always have Second Saturday tours. There's all sorts of fun events that are open to the public that are going on all the time.
You need to take a tour, Joe.
You do.
A tour. I love tours.
Come take a tour.
Can I bring my wine with me? Is it a BYOB?
I don't see why you couldn't.
That's what I
As long
wanna
as you
hear.
share with the group.
Oh, I'm a big time sharer.
Okay.
But understandably, anyone that makes wine, if you don't know this, we are givers. We're not takers. We want to share the wine.
Well, that's fantastic.
It's a good thing.
Well,
So-
we want to see you
I
at
don't know if
Paulsdale.
I don't know if you knew that though. I was a winemaker.
I did not know that.
It's-
What kind of wine?
I'm a little shocked. I'm a little shocked that you're a part of the organization and you didn't share that with the rest of the. I do all reds.
Nice.
And most people, women, they don't like red wine. But I
Oh.
guarantee you, when you
I'm a Cabernet drinker.
good, and I do a lot of Cabernet,
Oh, nice.
a little Merlot.
We're gonna have to talk later.
Yes, we'll have to put that together, that deal, because I know you are heading up the organization now. So we have some. We'll have some fun with our wine.
Okay,
You
sounds
know,
good.
The cheese is cheap, but the wine is. But that's good. And you are from the area, correct?
I have lived in Haddonfield for 18 years. So I love South Jersey. I was born and raised in North Jersey, and I'm thrilled to be a South Jerseyer now.
Fun, isn't
Kinder,
it?
gentler Jersey.
Yes, it's a little and I tell people all the time that we're from New Jersey, and I get different. No matter where we travel, we get different looks. But I think this particular people give us a when you hear New Jersey for some apparent reason, you hear so many different things because North Jersey and South, and then the TV show is on. It didn't make it any better. The Jersey Shore, which is not exactly how New Jersey is supposed to be, looked at. But
No.
but overall, we live in I believe probably one of the nicest part of this in the states in the country.
I think so too. But I think we should keep the stereotype alive because I want everybody else to keep out. We have enough people.
Yes, we do.
Well, Melinda, I want to thank you so much for coming in today. It's been a long time in coming, so I'm glad we finally connected because I think that the work that the Alice Paul Institute is doing is just so wonderful and so critical. So Melinda Champion, thank you again for joining us. It's the Alice Paul Institute, and I hope you check it out if you have girls. There's a great camp coming up, a lot of great programs. Again, it's the Alice Paul Institute. Melinda, thanks for hanging out today.
Thank you, Traci and Joe.
Absolutely. Look forward to hearing more about you. We'll have you on our website, and we'll be making sure that we keep it attached to you guys. But we'll be back. Main Street Money here. We're going to be taking a little short break here. We'll be back with Main Street Money again. Our new hours. I love our new hours, 11 to 12, as opposed to the afternoon. So we're going to have some fun on the other side of the hour. So it's Main Street Money here on Cruisin' 92.1 FM WVLT.
Listen to me, listen to me.
I heard you, Joe.
I mean the listening audience, Traci.
Okay, when?
Every Saturday, 11 o'clock, we get real about money and we have fun.
That's right. We'll simplify all the issues when it comes to your money and give you some tips on how to make it, protect it, and keep it.
But they have to listen.
Okay, you can only ask nicely.
All right. It's Main Street Money coming to you every Saturday from 11 to 12 on Cruisin' 92.1 FM WVLT.
I've taken my bows and my curtain calls. You brought me